Okay, good evening, everyone. So I'm Rohit. I am the CEO at Astra Cybertech. We're a boutique cybersecurity firm. Apart from heading the operations, I am also an ethical hacker and an offensive security consultant. Love working on red teaming projects, hacking and breaking into things. And that's the reason we've decided to present this and also partner up with Pentera. Now with me, I have Norman. I'll allow him to quickly introduce himself.
Hello, everyone. A very good greetings to everyone here. My name is Norman. I'm the sales engineer in Pentera. So I'm based out of Singapore. So this is my second time in India, enjoying it. I love the food, and I'm very glad to be here to share with you the insights about what we have for today.
So a quick intro about our topic. Today we'll be looking at why we'll be comparing automated and manual red teaming and why we need both. Now in today's day and time we work with manual red teaming, but we'll be also looking how a balance between both will help organizations.
So what happens was, I think in the previous panel discussion is very exciting. Mainly the topic is more about AI, right? Again, if you talk about AI, it's also related to an increase of cybersecurity threats. AI leverage the attackers to build payload even faster, to break into infrastructures even quicker, faster. So based on that, right, we poses the questions to Rohit, right? He's been in this domain for a very long time. To maybe check with Rohit, right, is the traditional manual red teaming or penetrations enough at this current context?
Now, to answer your question, in today's day and time, there have been advancements in cybersecurity, both on the good side as well as the bad side of things. Bad actors have increased, especially attacks over the past 5 to 10 years have increased tremendously, mainly due to automation and largely recently due to the use of AI. Now the number of attacks which used to happen and even the complexity of attacks which used to take place years ago was a lot less compared to the number of attacks we are seeing organizations and a lot of our clients face in today's day and time. So just manual red teaming or just manual testing, I don't think it's enough. So that's where we come to this approach of manual versus automated red teaming. Now, manual red teaming has human-driven ethical hackers. Now, these guys work on a periodic basis firstly, so the time that they have to test your environment is limited. It can be a month, 2 months, maximum 3 months. You will rarely find them working throughout the year. Now, one good thing is they are creative. They have their own novel approaches. They keep adapting to the modern attacks. And even in today's day and time, they are a little faster in adapting compared to AI. And again, one negative side, they take weeks or months to execute these attacks, and the attack path coverage that they can give you in that limited time is limited to maybe 1 to 5 attack paths. Whereas where you compare automated red teaming, it is a continuous machine-driven red teaming. You can keep running it 365 days a year because you aren't deploying people to keep running it. There is an AI agent, there is a platform which runs it continuously, and again, there is a lot of safety and security in automated red teaming. Now, just to ask you, like, where do you think this manual red teaming falls short, Norman? Where do you think it falls short? Any idea? But since you come from the automated side, could you tell me what your thoughts are, where we as manual red teamers fall short?
Yep. So actually we help a lot of customers to move from not move, but in a way using our solutions to complement the manual red teaming processes. Now, it's very simple, right? When you do a manual red teaming, there is a limited scope, limited time whereby the testers, right, have a time limitation to do what they're supposed to do. And then another thing is that because of time constraint, it also relates to the limited coverage. They very often test against a certain scope. So for example, they might test against, say, web applications that's in the public facing. But internal testing, they might miss out, right? Because of the limitations, time, and the limited coverage. Now, the most important thing in this context is not also about the risk, it's also about the high cost and ROI that also being spoke about in the panel discussion, right? So this actually built up some of the manual testing shortcomings. That is why in Pentera, it's a solutions whereby we automate all is security validation testing in all of the different vectors. So different factors can be things like a network, from testing inside out. It can be from outside in, where testing your applications that is external facing, right? You have iBanking systems, you have your maybe a internal employee system that's external facing. We can test that from different vectors. Now, another important thing is also in the cloud. Everybody moved from on-prem to cloud. We do have a hybrid cloud environment as well. So Pantera tests against those different factors across the environment automatically. That is important. And lastly is not just to find out the security risks, but putting those risks into a centralized platform whereby we can output into a workflow system. For example, Jira, ServiceNow, for them to help in terms of the remediations workflow. So that is what Pantera's solution is all about, to actually enhance the shortcoming of manual red teaming.
Okay, so I think we have a lot of organizations here who are performing many of these security tests, doing red teaming frequently. Now, can any of you say if you are running red teaming once a year, once a quarter even, which is a very high frequency, can you say that your organization is completely secure? Anyone who is running it at that high frequency, anyone running red teaming for their organization? Or even VAPTs testing, can you say that your organization is 100% secure with that? Not at all, that's right. So the problem with manual testing or manual red teaming is that you test it at that point of time, you know what the security risks in your organization are, you know where the areas of improvement are, but once that is done, technology is changing very rapidly. There are new APIs developed by many of the BFSI sector organizations, there are infrastructure level changes, there are new security solutions coming which are implemented, and that changes on a day-to-day basis. So you cannot say that once you have tested it once a year or once a quarter, your organization is secure. So how do we change that with automation? Now, firstly, you are continuously testing. Now, you might not be continuously performing entire simulations, but you are testing certain high priority networks, such as your server network, your server subnet is something which you might want to prioritize and continuously test. You plan it out very well, where you are continuously testing all the new implementations in your organization. The second thing is that you get full attack, you can cover the full attack surface. So it's not just limited to maybe internal or maybe even external attack surfaces. You are covering internal, you are covering external attack surfaces, you are covering your clouds, your externally exposed APIs, and you are making sure all of them are getting year-round coverage. Now the third part, if you run a VAPT program, you run a red teaming program in your organization, I'm sure you are dealing with hundreds of thousands of vulnerabilities that are reported by different teams and different tools. But prioritizing those becomes difficult. So that's where an entire attack path, having an attack path is important, because where you would have thousands of vulnerabilities, you might have just hundreds of attack paths, and you know which to prioritize and which vulnerabilities to prioritize in those attack paths. And that's how we plan this entire continuous security validation. So Norman, can you just walk us through how you plan?
So this example is one of customers whereby we plan what are the type of testings that can be done in the customer's environment, and we help them to plan which are the areas that they need to prioritize. So for example, right, if you look at this calendar example, they have different color coding, represent the different type of testing. So you can test from outside in, inside out. We have dedicated testing like ransomware to check for ransomware campaign, Black Hat, Logbit. So based on that, we are able to firstly automate how testing is going to be done in the environment. Secondly, is to plan each of the journey itself. What are the type of testings, and how about to create those testings that we can test the risk, right?
Now, these are the three outcomes that the board will actually care about in this automated security validation or automated security testing. The first is the reduced risk of breach in your organization. Now, since you are continuously testing, you know what all attack paths an attacker could compromise in your organization. because of which the risk of breach is substantially reduced. The second is a better ROI on your security tools. Now, again, people from security, can you say that all the security tools implemented in your organization are implemented to the best of their abilities? For example, if you have a zero trust network architecture implemented, can you say the solution that you've used for it is implemented to the best of its ability? I doubt anyone can, because we work in the testing side of things and we know most of these security solutions in organizations will be top grade. But the implementation and the way you are taking an output of those tools is limited to the implementation. So you can get a better ROI on your security tools if you are continuously testing them for what new security issues can come up. And lastly, the board level visibility. So again, like I said, hundreds of thousands of vulnerabilities is not something a board is looking to address. They want to know what are the top priorities for their organization, and they can get that visibility on what are the top actionable items for them.
So we have speak enough on the theory, right? Let's bring us the next step to see how is it being done in Pantera Solutions platform. So what you see here is, first of all, automatically, we can discover what are the assets that is alive. And based on that, we discover what is the vulnerabilities, right? It can be things like a CVE or misconfiguration. And when these things happen, we can try to do an ethical attack to test against this security control, whether it's working or not. So the next thing is that, for example, is that we have able to achieve an attack called a gathered valuable information from hosts. So what this does over here is that in this queue chain, end of the objective is that we capture a key. This key allows the attackers to get in to your network and to exploit and to compromise a certain host. But the key thing about this thing to emphasize, right, is to look at the visibility that you're able to get out of the systems. So what happens, just a quick one, right, on the top here, there's where we find out there's a chance for us to run man-in-the-middle attack, and we sniff certain credentials. We crack the credentials, we get into the host, and we execute some of the payload, and end of the day, we get to the some of the secrets that allow us to compromise that host. Now, with that onwards, we are also able to let the testers understand which are the areas that they need to patch, right? So for example, if you look at over here, we have the 8.8, and for example, we have 6.9, we have 4.7. So which are the areas that, for example, if I were to fix a 8.8, how is it going to affect the entire queue chain? That's an important point. Now, the next part is also help you to prioritize what is really matters. So in this example, everybody know, right? In terms of the scoring, the highest score is the ones that we want to prioritize. But that is the traditional way. So if you look at here, the third one is a 0-log-1 CVE, which is a 10 out of 10 CVSS scoring. But we are telling the testers to focus on 4.7. The reason is why, if we are able to really mitigate 4.7 itself, the attackers couldn't even get into the network, because this allows the attackers to run a man-in-the-middle attack. So the objective of running the validation is mostly look from an attacker perspective, prioritize the remediations, and then try to output into your remediation workflow systems like Jira, ServiceNow, so on and so forth.
So now, are we trying to say that automated red teaming should completely replace manual red teaming? No, we aren't. The best approach is a balance of both. So you are balancing manual red teaming as well as automated red teaming. Maybe you do a manual red teaming once at the start of the year. You know what your top priority actions are, and then you start off with your automated red teaming throughout the year. Midway through the year, you know you've made substantial changes in your applications, in your network, in your entire organization, and you also have good data coming in from your automated red teaming tool. That's where, again, you can include your manual red teaming team to start performing a red teaming action and tell you where exactly what to prioritize and where the pain points are. And also, one part which they can cover is the physical red teaming, dealing with the people in your organization, phishing, wishing, those factors which might not be covered in the automated red teaming right now. So the main part we wanted to convey is that if you test annually, attackers will keep winning daily. You cannot be testing once a year or even once every 3 months and expect attackers to stick with your schedule. Attackers have all the time in the world to keep attacking your organization, and testers might not have that time. So that's where we need the balance between automation as well as manual red teaming. And that was our main goal of presenting this topic to you today. So thank you, everyone.